Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray. This week, reporter Emily Hoeven is back, political columnist with the San Francisco Chronicle. Emily, welcome. Good to have you back. It always seems like we start this and finish it with talk about Governor Newsom. So he's not officially running for president and may not do so, but his vibe looms large over the party.
It does. I think, yeah, heading into the 2024 elections, we're going to see him take a very active role, even though his name is not officially on the ballot. He has said repeatedly that he's going to be a surrogate for President Joe Biden, basically being his hype man, talking him up, traveling throughout the country to support vulnerable Democrats, particularly those in Republican-led states. And he is also championing a ballot measure in California for the March primary ballot that would basically funnel a lot of money in bond dollars for mental health bed infrastructure. And so he actually just rolled out a new ad for that. So I think we're going to see him using a lot of his campaign funds to promote that. So even though he's not running right now, there's a lot of things he's doing.
He is doing a lot of things. You have a column out in the Chronicle talking about the possibility of San Francisco city government dumping progressives in 2024 as a move up. I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, well, essentially the piece was just kind of looking at San Francisco a year out from the November 2024 elections and essentially gauging the political climate in the city. And I think it's fair to say that voters are pretty sour on what they see as the status quo, which many of them seem to associate with the failures of progressive governance, where it's more based on ideology and optics than it is on actual outcomes and reality on the ground. But essentially in the piece, I argue that while the lack of outcomes is a progressive problem, it's also a moderate problem. And, you know, Mayor London Breed has been running the city for 6 years, and a lot of things have, you know, not necessarily improved. And so what I think voters are really hungry for, and this is true not only in San Francisco, but across the state, is just a government that works. I think they care less about political labels than they do about actual things functioning the way that they should. So we'll see if that holds true.
All right, let's go back to the governor for a moment, and sort of a light moment, maybe for people watching, but certainly maybe not for the governor. He's in China and sort of wrapping up his trip playing basketball with some school kids, and that's when photo ops don't go well.
Yeah, it was during this sort of impromptu basketball game that he tripped and fell and, you know, kind of landed on top of a child. And I think you could just sense that he felt pretty awkward during that moment. Obviously, a lot of people seized onto it. It kind of became a meme. And I would say that that's kind of a thread that we saw throughout the China trip, where the governor was definitely trying to strike a very serious angle about, you know, climate diplomacy, climate agreements, even discussing periodically human rights. But the American press was somewhat curtailed in their access to some of these meetings with Chinese officials. And so what a lot of the public got instead of this substance was pictures and videos. And, you know, in addition to him falling on the child, there was also a picture of him that went viral at the Great Wall of China, where he's, you know, staring into the distance and wearing aviators and kind of looks like some random model picture.
The video of the basketball thing kind of showed he was going left, and those kids kind of shut him down. The Kings may have want to play better defense like those kids did on the governor, brought him down. Governor's 6'4", so he probably played a little ball back in the day. Emily, thank you, of course, as always. You can reach out to Emily Hoeven if you would like. She's at emily.hoeven@sfchronicle.com.